That's better. What is up, everybody? Welcome again to Football here on powered4.tv. I'm your host, John Scott. Welcome again. Wow, what a day of football yesterday. Everybody said it would be as random as hell, and it ended up being like that for the most part. Want to welcome everybody who's in the chat. Comments coming in early today, so thank you very much for that. Always appreciate you guys coming on, giving us some feedback. Going to run the results of yesterday down here on the scroll. You'll see that going through, and I'm going to talk about some of those results as well as previewing, of course, my team Tottenham, who are playing today. The big talk is basically Harry Kane. Is Harry Kane sitting up in the stands, eating a bit of lunch, or is he on the bench, or is he actually going to play? He's going to be one of the three. I'm interested to know what people think. Put in the comments below. What is Kane going to do out of those three? Or maybe he doesn't even show up at all. Who knows? I suppose that's another route to take. But loads of cracking action yesterday. I think for the most part, I got my predictions right. There might have been a couple that I kind of messed up on, but I think for the most part, I kind of called it. But I was definitely not expecting the performance of, even though Leeds are Leeds, and I know they're not on the level of Man United right now, but still, it was a great performance from Manchester United, I thought, yesterday. Bruno Fernandes in particular, and even Paul Pogba, like loads of assists for him. I think he equaled what he got like last season or something. Someone was telling me, so that was pretty crazy in itself. Let's take some of your comments then. I've got honest beyond reasonable. Harry Kane will be on the bench. Could be. I mean, I'm going to give my thoughts and my prediction on where he's going to be exactly in a little while. But yeah, so I mean, anybody's guess is as good as anybody, I think, at the moment. El Sicano, this is a good one. Now, Bruno is a beast. I'm biased as I'm Portuguese, but he is really stepping up. Does UK fans see him as a Cantona level? Oh, do you know what? The thing is, El Sicano, I'm not a Man United fan, and I think the perception from the general footballing sort of fans, if you will, I think he's at that level, but I think the personality of an Eric Cantona is probably not quite there with Fernandes. That's not to say like the guy hasn't got a personality or anything like that, but I'm talking about media perception, what he gets up to out of football, stuff like that. Like you don't get to hear from him as much, but he's definitely a popular figure at the moment at Manchester United. Like I don't even think when they brought him in, they could have imagined how much of a success he would actually end up being. Like he's very, very consistent. He's not a one season wonder at all. He's always banging them in. So with him, they've got like guaranteed goals every season, basically. So good question. Keep them coming in. Uncle Gripper, I'm an Arsenal fan, and I'm so fed up with them right now. I know you said you was a Spurs fan, so you must be loving it. I feel like there's no way out. Do you know what? I'm not going to say I love to. I mean, look, I don't. I said this yesterday, and I'm not that biased to think that like Arsenal. I mean, the thing is, what you've got to remember, Uncle Gripper, is that Tottenham, our team, our club, isn't really doing any better than what Arsenal is doing. Now, off the pitch, I might say Tottenham's recruitment is maybe better than what Arsenal's is right now. I'll give them that. But in terms of on the pitch, we're not really far apart. So I wouldn't say I'm loving it. If Tottenham are in the Champions League, playing in Champions League this season instead of the Emmerdale Farm Cup, whatever the hell this conference thing is, I'd be gloating a bit more. But the fact is, we're not. We only finished like one place above you. So it's like it's not really a gloating. I can't really be happy. So I'm just as worried about my team half the time, especially with what happens. And Stu Palmer saying, yes, John, thank you very much, Stu. He'll be loving yesterday. His team got off to a start as well, 3-1 up against Southampton there. Watched all the goals this morning. Some great stuff. Obviously, with all them Norwich. I said yesterday, I kind of felt like they would be on. Oh, it's going to be a tough season. It's going to be an hard one for them. You can really see that. I think that even at home, you could tell like that the fans almost expected a little bit of like, well, we can try, but I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know. I just didn't feel it with Norwich yesterday. I didn't feel like they were going in with that sort of upbeat lift that they're back in the Premier League. It felt very much like we're just back here, but we sort of brought nobody new with us type of thing. Anyway, other results. Burnley obviously losing out as well. Chelsea 3-0 against Crystal Palace. A lot of people are saying Chelsea are going to be the closest to Manchester City this season. I said yesterday I kind of disagree with that a little bit, but they definitely will be thereabouts. What about Aston Villa? Their brand spanking sort of new team, if you will, after Jack Grealish, life after Grealish. They were kind of down quite quickly against the newly promoted Watford, and they did a great job yesterday. But to be honest with you, it's going to take time with Aston Villa. It's not going to be like, well, we've got all these players, so let's just throw them in. They're going to suddenly, spark magic. I was kind of half expecting it. It will take a little bit of time, but they are getting there for sure. I believe like the signings they've got, and even like the ones they got before, like Ollie Watkins and that, they're good players. I just think it'll take a bit of time to gel again in all that. Anyway, guys, let's move on then, shall we? Let's go to, of course, the one and only transfer latest, because this stuff, it changes by the second. So I always have to have this on in the background to make sure that I know what the hell is going on. So I'm just looking right now, and obviously some confirmations coming in. We've got Manchester United that have obviously confirmed. We saw him there yesterday, of course, which was Varane signing from Real Madrid. I think it's a fantastic signing for Manchester United, given like Harry Maguire's kind of very much settled now. I think like for ages he was kind of missing that partner. You had Lindelof, Eric Bailly, a couple of others that were filling in there. That it was always chopping and changing with those defenders. Whereas I feel Varane is a very established French international. Great signing and great price, really. I know his wages will be coming in quite hefty, but great signing for me on how much they spent on him. Other transfer news then. Let's go down the pile, shall we? Because we've also got, and we mentioned this yesterday, and I'm sorry to say again for Arsenal fans, they won't want to hear this, but Tammy Abraham has now agreed to join Roma, according to Sky in Italy. The striker will fly to Italy to complete his move with a medical scheduled in Rome tomorrow. Abraham will sign a 5-year contract worth $4 million after tax. So quite an interesting development there. Tammy Abraham, very publicly, I think, is known. He is an Arsenal fan. So it's like if any player, striker that Arsenal could really get, it would be someone like him. He supports them. He's English. He's living in London already. The fact that Arsenal haven't scrapped up the extra money to try and put that bid in so they could get into some talks with him is unbelievable, because watching their game on Friday, the one thing they were missing was somebody like a Tammy Abraham in the middle, someone quite tall, strong, big presence. They get all these crosses in Arsenal, but they got no one to finish. Arsenal at the minute, apparently Aubameyang is up for sale. They've got Lacazette that they need to get rid of because he's only got a year left on his contract. Now, Lacazette, let's not forget to put an extra layer into this, was also linked with Roma. So I would guess now Roma will step away from even looking at someone like Lacazette right now, and they'll be quite happy with Tammy Abraham because they're going to make a big investment. Reports in it's going to be around that £34 million mark. Also, this is very interesting, and it's almost like Chelsea have learned from their mistakes. I mean, the fact that they sold Lukaku to Everton and then they brought him back for £97.5 million. Well, let's say Tammy Abraham does a Lukaku in Italy in the next couple of years. Chelsea have basically put an insurance on it they have gone 80 million euros, it's saying here, which is probably about 60 million option buyback clause option, which is very, very interesting, because what that tells me is that Chelsea, maybe not the manager, but certainly the people above him, feel that Tammy Abraham in a couple of years may develop into an even better striker and come back stronger, a bit like Lukaku. And obviously, they don't want to be paying crazy amounts of money. So they've capped it at a sustainable 60 million buyback clause, which is very, very clever. That's a shrewd move on their part. I think it's a great move for them doing that. Also, other news here, not really transfer related, but registering players. Barcelona. So Barcelona are waiting to see if new signings Memphis Depay and Eric Garcia, who of course plays for Manchester City before, will be allowed to play in the opening league game of the season against Real Sociedad tomorrow. So basically what this is all about is they have not been able to register players because they've had like wages caps on these players, and now they've had to like kind of prove to La Liga that they can register these players. Gerard Piqué has agreed amazingly in this day and age, especially given Piqué's age and everything, has agreed to take a pay cut. I mean, incredible dedication there, I suppose. I mean, it's not like he's taking a pay cut like you and I would be taking a pay cut. It would kind of mean something then. No, he's not gonna lose his ass over it. But still, Gerard Piqué, pretty much in the twilight years of his career, to be doing that goes to show his level of commitment with Barcelona. I'm sure he could have said, "No, stuff you, I'm going." Being asked that. Also, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was asked if there's going to be any more in at Manchester United. Now, apparently, they are looking at a couple of players in France. That's still very much there on the tables. Let's go through. Let's just check there isn't anything else developing as we speak. Just looking from earlier on this morning. Also, we've got Davis set for Blades loan move. So Liverpool, who brought in Ben Davis last season, you'll remember, as kind of like a backup contingency plan defender when they were basically desperate for defenders, and now already loaning Ben Davis back out on loan to Sheffield United. So, I mean, will he have more than that of a career at Liverpool? I'm not so sure. Also, this just following on from yesterday, really. I think we already kind of knew this, but Villarreal accepted a £40 million offer for defender Torres, but the player does not want to go to Tottenham, probably because we're in the Emmerdale Farm Cup and we're not in the Champions League. So I can't blame him overall on that one. Okay, let's move on. Let's see what where the bulk of the rumours come from half the time, which is the newspapers. According to the Daily Star, Paul Pogba will run down the final 12 months of his Manchester United contract before joining Real Madrid on a free transfer next summer. That is, I mean, I think he's playing a game where he's trying to up his wage. He's probably at that age now where he's signing another big, maybe one of his last big contracts. So I think he's trying to play it off a bit. I mean, given what I saw yesterday, just on yesterday's basis, I'd have to ask Sonny Garner, a guy over at Games and Graps, who are on later, by the way, so you can check them out, 8 p.m. They're doing a no holds barred show on YouTube and Powered for Facebook. But he's a big Man United fan. I'd be interested to know what he thinks about Paul Pogba in this situation, whether to keep him or not. Personally, given on what I saw yesterday, I would be keeping him because he had a really good game. But the problem is he has great games, and then other games he doesn't really show up for. So it's kind of hit and miss. At this point, I don't know if they're going to really get the money for someone like Paul Pogba. Certainly not going to get it from Real Madrid. And so for Man United, it's, I mean, they spent nearly 100 million on him, and this is many years ago. So the value of Paul Pogba is astonishing. But yeah, we'll see. He's obviously going to play them off a little bit. Also, the Sunday Telegraph today says Daniel Levy is set to hold firm with his intention to keep Harry Kane at Tottenham when he comes face to face with Manchester City officials on Sunday. So, I mean, Daniel Levy, I would love to have a camera going on in the background of Tottenham Stadium today. I would love to have, like, get the Amazon crew back. You know, what they filmed before was a load of rubbish. You know, that season was terrible. Get the Amazon crew in there, get Netflix, whoever, get them in there, get this stuff recorded, because in this one day alone, you'd probably get a whole series worth. You know, you could play like 10 hours through the day. You could chuck it out once a week. But I'm telling you, between Harry Kane showing up, Daniel Levy and the Manchester City board coming together before and after the game, it is going to be such an interesting dynamic going on, and seeing what to read into people's body language and reactions to one another. The Sun this morning, Tottenham have been assured that they can rely on Harry Kane against Manchester City on today, of course. Speak about that in a minute. Manchester United signing Rafael Varane has taken the number 19 after Phil Jones allegedly refused to give up his number 4 jersey. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? I mean, yeah, I suppose numbers do mean a lot to players, but Phil Jones, you know, I kind of forgot he was even there. That's how kind of down the pecking order he is right now. So, blimey. What else we got? Barcelona outcast Philip Coutinho has been offered to AC Milan, Roma and Lazio following a poor 3-year stint at the Nou Camp. Yeah, do you know what? Since he's turned up there, since Liverpool sold him, and they did incredible recruitment for his money, Philip Coutinho, he's gone out on loan at Barcelona. He has not established himself at all at Barcelona, which is incredible. And now, obviously, Barcelona are looking to cut their wages down. They want this guy out somehow. I did hear some links in England, but I think they're kind of short-lived now. So I think it probably will be one of the Italian clubs that pick him up. The Mirror today says Paris Saint-Germain have reportedly come up with a sensational plan to turn dream into reality by partnering Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi in the French capital. I mean, like I said yesterday, this whole Paris Saint-Germain thing, it's like playing FIFA, but like just editing before you get on and putting all the best players in that you want. It's like Football Manager 21 with the cheats on. You know, yeah, I'll have Ronaldo, Messi, Mbappe, Neymar, just chuck them all on. I mean, it's crazy. I'm guessing Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi potentially, if Mbappe left Paris, because there's no way this financial fair play can be keeping up if this is the case. By the way, I read somewhere yesterday that Lionel Messi had already sold 150,000 tops with his name on it. I worked it out that if they were selling that for, say, 65 quid a pop, that would get them close to £10 million back already. That is just freaking crazy. I mean, wow. Talk about, you know, recouping already. And I'm sure they'll sell more as the season goes on. Lastly, the Sunday Mail Celtic target Yan Couto will plead with Manchester City to rubber stamp a move. Yeah, he wants out, basically. He wants that to go there. So, yeah, that's all the paper talk to date. Now, of course, let's get into, and I've run it on the bottom there, you'll see, which, of course, is today's previews. We've got 2 games on today, one after each other, of course. Starting at 2:00, we've got Newcastle United up against West Ham United on our 2:00 kickoff. I think, you know, Newcastle, every season, it's the same old story. I had Alex McCarthy on, about a month ago, I think now, from TalkSport. He does a lot of wrestling, obviously. He's a big Newcastle fan, and he didn't sound too sort of overwhelmed with what's going on right now. But Joe Willock, he's there. That's a signing, I suppose. is it big intentions? I don't know. I still think that, like, that they've been doing this every season where they buy at least one player just to keep the fans happy, I think. But I mean, he's a good signing, Joe Willock. I honestly do think that. I think for them, you look at his loan form last season, Joe Willock was getting them when he needed to, especially a lot of crosses. So he is a good signing for Newcastle. Don't get me wrong. But I do feel like the setup there is just completely horrendous for if you're a Newcastle fan. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys enjoy it. I don't know. But West Ham United on the other side, they are obviously hoping that Jesse Lingard returns to them, who spent time on loan with them as well. Two quite successful loanees, really, from the back end of last season. I think they both moved out in January. So they'll be wanting to get him. Obviously, I've seen West Ham. They've been in for some players. They haven't had great success at the moment. I don't know why they are not backing David Moyes a little bit more in the market and giving him a bit more money to get these players over the line, because given what he did last season, you'd have to say that was, like, with all due respect to West Ham's players, he overachieved badly. So, in a good way, by the way. But now it's time to sort of, I think, give him a bit more money in the kitty and say, right, you kind of tell us what players you want for your system. Let's give you a bit of a helping hand. They're not doing that right now. I think they think they're going to get another miracle out of David Moyes this season and West Ham. And I think that would be a big mistake. All we've seen so far is, well, if Declan Rice, if he wants to go, he's going to be about 100 million. But listen, nobody's going to go in for him yet. He's still very young. They'll wait for his contract to go down a little bit more, and then a club will go in for him. But they can't certainly. I'm guessing perhaps they feel like, well, like Aston Villa with Jack Grealish, if we sold our biggest asset, we could just use that money to kind of maybe spend half of it in the market and keep the rest. I think that's the problem with these clubs that are at that level. They are kind of like they're just in it for the business. They're not really in it for the football. They just look at the long-term picture. But today's game, I'm going to actually say that I think West Ham might sneak this on an away win. I think they may sneak it. Given all that I've just said there, I'm going to give them the benefit, and I'm going to go with a win there for West Ham, I believe, as much as it pains me to say. But coming up next, of course, the big talking point, and we'll end this show on it, basically, is, of course, Harry Kane. What will he be doing? Will he be on the bench? Will he be sitting up in the stands, just watching, and whilst the Sky cameras keep cutting back to him and he's got to keep a poker face and not react to anything? Or does he play? And, if he plays and he scores, what's he going to do? Is he going to, give it all this and run over? And Pep Guardiola's like, and what's going on? You're going to be seeing me in the next couple of weeks. I don't need you doing this type of thing. Or is he going to have a stinker and it's going to be obvious? It's difficult to say, isn't it? I mean, when you're in that mindset, if you put yourself in Harry Kane's shoes, you want this move to Manchester City. You also have a lot of pride in what you do as a footballer. He loves records. He loves scoring goals, right? So I'm kind of thinking, if I'm Harry Kane and I'm wearing a Spurs shirt and I'm getting paid by Spurs, I want to go and score for Spurs regardless, so that maybe it impresses my suitor even more. Maybe Daniel Levy's actually gone up to him before the game today and said, Harry, please put a couple more in. You'll definitely get a move then, because they'll up the price. Maybe that's his way of thinking. Maybe that's a good motivator for him. I don't know. Give him some more extra goal bonus. But a fascinating time. I think the guy I feel for the most is Nuno, because Nuno, he's the only guy that's answering questions about Harry Kane, because Tottenham haven't really come out, like, from the higher level telling us what on earth is going on here. And I think for him, obviously, he's been preparing Tottenham without Harry Kane for the most part. So it's like we've built a lot more around Heung-min Son, who's been absolutely fantastic through pre-season. We've also got a young player called Dane Scarlett coming through that I kind of think will be a very, very good player in years to come. Now, whether he's ready This season, I don't know. It might be next year or even the year after that. But there's definitely something there. It just depends when he's going to get his opportunity and how well he gets off to a good start. Oliver Skip's been very good. I've been very impressed with him. The new players we've brought in, I'm not really expecting any of them to play. Even Romero, that we've just brought in for a crazy amount of money from Atlanta, our new centre back. I don't even know if he'll start today. I'm certain that Brian Gill will not be starting today because he's only just got in from the Olympics. The goalkeeper probably will maybe get a start. There's a lot of talk that Lloris is going to be leaving at the end of next season, so Tottenham are trying to eye out the next goalkeeper. They got this guy on loan, possibly, I suppose. So yeah, I think for Spurs, we are in a little bit of a transitional period of trying to blood new players as well as bringing them in. But then in the pre-season, I mean, look, we played Chelsea, we played Arsenal. They played decent teams against us, by the way, and we looked half decent. We looked like we could hold it with them. So that's without Harry Kane. Just finally to end up on the Harry Kane saga, everybody asking me what I think he should do and what about Tottenham afterwards and all the rest of it. I'll say this much, and I've heard a few pundits say it recently, and it really is a good point, is that what have we won, okay, losing Harry Kane, what has Harry Kane won with Tottenham? What have we won with Harry Kane? And I'll tell you what we've won, a big zilch. We've won nothing. We've got to finals like the Champions League, and the League Cup final and stuff like that. And we haven't really Harry Kane hasn't showed up on those finals. Now, the Champions League was we got there without Harry Kane because he was injured. So a lot of it was on Son and Lucas's shoulders through all that. So I'm kind of thinking, and by the way, I'm not saying Harry Kane isn't a fantastic player because he is. And we are going to be less without him. But also, we haven't won anything with him. So it's a bit like I look back at Jurgen Klopp when he was at Liverpool and he had Coutinho, and everyone was saying, if you lose Coutinho, that'll be less for you, blah, blah, blah. Because they've recruited so well after, they bought Mane, they got Salah, and they kind of just did a great job of just recruiting, getting the right players in. Look where they are now. Liverpool and Tottenham at one point around that time, especially when they had Coutinho, were at the exact same level. Now Liverpool have well surpassed Tottenham. So I'm kind of looking at it like that. I think, we've lost Gareth Bale in the past. We've lost Luka Modric. But in that time, we were still progressing. We lost Luka Modric, but we still went forward. We were getting into Champions Leagues. The same with Gareth Bale. When he left, we were still able to get into the Champions League. So at the moment, Spurs got 7th last season. Not exactly brilliant with Harry Kane, was it? So I'm not as beat up about it as maybe what others are. I kind of feel if we get the right players in, I would like to see. I'd like to see the guy we're linked with, the Serbian striker. I'd like to see him in. Forget his name, but I'd like to see him. He looks a real handful. Very, very good, presence, strength up front. If we get him, I'd be very happy. So that's what I'm taking from it, personally. Now, of course, today the other talking point for Manchester City is going to be Jack Grealish. Potentially will be starting today, I would imagine. He's got the number 10 shirt, David Silva's old shirt, and all the rest. So big stepping up for him. Everybody's been saying, is he the right type of player for Manchester City? He spends too much time on the ball sometimes. He looks for fouls, whereas Pep Guardiola's teams are very fluid as they go forward. But I think if anything, Pep will just add that to his game. I really do. And people keep saying this, but then when Pep was manager of Barcelona, it's not as if he said to Lionel Messi, stop dribbling, is it? I mean, Lionel Messi dribbled his way into the box every time and scored, or assisted. So I think that's kind of a bit of a weird thing for pundits to be saying, is Jack Grealish the type of player for Manchester City? Because I just think Pep would work around it, or adapt, modify his game a little bit. So I think it's very much there. Now, in terms of predictions today, oh my goodness. And by the way, before I leave this show today, I've not decided 100%, but I might be doing a watch along live during the game. You will see my heartbreak as a Tottenham fan. I'm sure I'll be miserable through most of it, and getting angry and all the emotions you normally feel as a supporter watching your team. So I could be back, and if I am, I will be back at 4:20 p.m. today. Kickoff is at 4:30. So keep tabs on us if I do. In terms of a prediction, it's hard. It's hard not to see anywhere other than Manchester City, if I'm honest. So even though I'm a Spurs fan, I'm not. I don't hold out too much hopes for today. I think the best we could hope for is like a draw, or not getting beat heavy would be good as well. Like keeping in the game as much as possible. Again, there's a lot of dynamics to take into this. I don't know if Harry Kane's starting. If he's not, I think that will be add to whatever happens in the game. Quite frankly, the focus will be on him so much. Even if he doesn't play, the focus is going to be on him. So kind of one of those issues. So I'm going to say Manchester City, as painful as that is for me. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for checking out the third day of doing this. I've been dropping these videos daily. Please hit a like, hit a subscribe, share the video. Be very, very thankful. I'm trying to do my best with these. I'm getting them out as often as I can. Slightly fluctuated times, but it's because I work and also do things at powered4.tv, which reminds me to tell you guys, powered4.tv is a wrestling streaming on-demand service. You can sign up for powered4.tv right now, and I'll give you a special code of SP3 on the promotional code as you sign up. Will get you 50% off your first month. We've got over 30 wrestling promotions, over 400 hours of wrestling content, some great stuff on there to go and check out. We even have things available for free. So if you want to sample what Powered 4 can do as a platform, feel free to check some of that. Pro Wrestling Clash would be my recommendation. But yeah, thank you for everybody that's been watching. I hope you enjoyed the football today. I could be back at 4:20. If I am, please come back. If you want to have a good laugh at my expense, because I'll probably have my head in my arms watching my team Tottenham get thumped, then feel free to come along, check it out. But until then, I've been John Scott, and you've been watching 1-2 football here on Powered 4, and I'll be back tomorrow at the same sort of time. I'll see you then.